picture of Lonnie.
Lonnie had left behind a scrapbook.
I mean, it just flashed by me. I know it was her. This one. Oh, we're at the right place.
Right place, wrong time. And it looked like it had something to do with that phone call Lonnie placed days earlier.
When we were in the Philippines, Troop was actually able to talk to Lonnie for a few minutes, and Troop announced that we were coming, which I may not have done as an FBI agent, but I understand as an uncle saying we're coming to get you. I'm sure they moved them because of that.
The scrapbook is a hopeful sign. Troop wonders if Lonnie has left it behind as a deliberate clue that she'd been there.
The good thing is it was proof that they actually were here. So we got something to go on. And the bad part of it is, you know, she's gone.
What was your worst fear at that point?
Well, how do you find somebody in a country like Malaysia? I mean, my God.
But it wasn't just could they find her, but would they find her before she was victimized? Every year, the U.S. State Department ranks countries on their efforts against human trafficking. In its most recent report, just released, Malaysia is at the bottom, alongside North Korea, Iran, and Sudan. The State Department says that human trafficking and the sex trade it fuels are rampant here. Yet in all of 2006, not a single trafficker was prosecuted. Despite its reputation as a conservative, predominantly Muslim nation, Malaysia has a thriving sex industry. We went out with our cameras and met girls from half a dozen countries working as prostitutes.
Nema, I bring the girls who can speak English for you.
Hello. In this upscale karaoke bar, the madam literally paraded the girls before us.
Visa. Yeah, Nadia.
That night,
it's a world Anna knows only too well. She came to Malaysia for a waitressing job only to be told she had to work as a prostitute. She went to Malaysian immigration authorities for help.
I want them to help me, to rescue me, so I can go back Philippines.
But instead, she says, a top immigration official called her traffickers, then passed along some words of advice.
Go back to work.
Anna says some of the Malaysian police and immigration officials were actually clients of the clubs where she worked and helped themselves to the girls. Malaysian officials are notorious for turning a blind eye to trafficking, so much so that when victims like Anna show up looking for help, they're often brought up on immigration charges. Troop and Jerry know they need to find Lonnie and find her fast.
At this point, she had been missing for 3 weeks?
Yeah, 3 weeks, that's about right.
That's a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, they could have already gone through the initiations of the prostitution thing and all that. But, you know, you still want to get her back.
Coming up, confronting a trafficker who holds the key to Lonnie's freedom.
I looked in his eyes. I saw this horrible thing. It was like, she's my property.
When To the Rescue continues.
They have traveled thousands of miles, strangers in a foreign land, to find a young woman held by human traffickers. And they are closer than they think when To the Rescue continues.
Yeah, this one.
They'd come 8,000 miles to rescue her. Watched as police raided an apartment where she may have been held captive. But they were too late. Neighbors say a fleet of taxis arrived a couple days earlier and took Lonnie Ejercito and 15 other young people away. Lonnie's Uncle Troop and his friend retired FBI agent Jerry Howe asked cabbies if they remembered seeing Lonnie or the others.
No, you weren't.
They were desperate, even willing to consult a local faith healer with a reputation for finding missing persons.
We understand that you have a contact for us.
It's Dr. Inspector Ishmael, and he's very excited that he found us.
Then, finally, a break. Word that Lonnie has surfaced in, of all places, a police station. They race over to see her, and Troop and Lonnie are reunited behind closed doors.
So good.
I'm really fine here.
Thank you.
I know, but your mother's so worried, so worried. As soon as I walked in that door, she jumped up and she gave me this really strong hug. And she was squeezing me hard, and she just wouldn't let me go. I thought Lonnie was just going to go with us, and that was it. And turns out that wasn't it.
The reunion is short-lived. Jerry and Troop discover that Lonnie was brought to the police station by Kenny Kang, one of the people who has been holding her captive. Kang, who reportedly has ties to Chinese organized crime, may have brought her in to convince police she's not being held against her will. In fact, she's been saying all is well. She's fine.
Lonnie had already given them a statement saying that Kang wasn't doing anything wrong.
And what was your problem with that statement?
Well, he was there.
That's right. The Malaysian police were interviewing Lonnie with Kenny Kang sitting right next to her.
Mr. Kang always been with her?
Jerry Howe, who's conducted hundreds of interviews during his 26 years in the FBI, is shocked that the lead detective fails to separate the victim from the victimizer.
And when I suggested that, it's like the light bulb went off, and I said, oh, yeah, that's a good idea. And they moved him away from her so she could speak, but she was still terrified.
Kang is moved to an adjoining room where he proceeds to make himself at home.
Did it appear to you that Kenny Kang had a pre-existing relationship with some of the police officers?
Boy, I got that impression.
And what gave you that impression?
Well, he's laughing, he's making phone calls, he's joking with the police officer that he's with, and we can see all this, the glass in the offices there.
He was treating this as a minor inconvenience.
Right, minor inconvenience, and thought he was going to leave.
But now, with Kang out of earshot, Lonnie makes clear where she stands. She wants out, but that's easier said than done.
Who had the passport?
Kang.
And he isn't about to give it back. Now, her uncle's blood was beginning to boil. He wasn't leaving without the passport, and he wasn't the slightest bit afraid of a showdown with Kang, a reputed mobster.
Do you have the passport? Do you have her passport?
Yes, fine.
Because we want it. That we want her passport.
Her passport?
Like now. Yeah. Do you know what a passport is? I'm
Yes.
sure you do. We want it.
I will talk to...
No, you're talking to me.
Wait. Hold on a side. That passport, I will
Get
do
it,
my
okay.
part. I will get it. Not you.
Okay.
You were mad.
Oh, I was really mad. And then when I looked in his eyes, I saw this horrible thing. It was like, not a chance. I'm not giving you a passport. It's like, she's my property, and she's leaving this police station with me.
Although there's no evidence any money changed hands, Lonnie's frustrated rescuers start to suspect the worst, that the police are in Kang's pocket.
He paid that other bastard off. That's why he wanted back in there. He did not want to hand over the passport. He paid off that other guy.
We need to get that passport and get out of here.
Was there a point when you started to think, maybe we're not going to get this resolved even here at the police department?
When the incident happened with the passport, I was very worried at that point that we were all going to end up in jail.
The whole group.
The whole group of us, yeah.
And just when it seems things can't get any stranger, in walks a man who describes himself as Kenny Kang's business partner, a gynecologist named Ng Kok Kwang. The doctor says he has a side business supplying singers to work at various hotels, and he insists he's not engaged in human trafficking.
I'm a professional, okay?
Yeah.
I do not want to do any illegal things in terms of this because that's going to affect my business.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
No. I'm just telling you, I do not know why all this happened, this havoc happened. We have never kidnapped her. I'm just trying to make it clear. No, we never hold them prisoner, please. It's never our intention.
If you have their passport, they're prisoners.
No. It's not like that. If they can always come and tell us that they want to go home, they go home.
That's what he claims. But then he pulls something straight out of the human trafficking playbook, arguing that before Lonnie and the others can go free, they must first reimburse him for the money he says he spent transporting, housing, and training them.
According to contract that they have signed, they have to pay $200,000.
That translates to nearly $60,000, a sum so high it would take the average Filipino at least 20 years to pay it off.
$200,000,
almost
$60,000.
$60,000.
Yeah, this is just more for threatening effect, all right?
We asked to see that 8-year contract Dr. Yang keeps talking about.
This is the contract we have with them. Can we? All right? No. This is PNC, sorry. We can't give you a copy. It's private and confidential. We can't give you a copy.
Confidential.
Yes. If you want any document, I think I have to discuss with partner. I can't just release it like that, all right?